25 most important events in 19th century Russia. To begin, the first important event was the war with Persia in 1804. A war with Persia began because of territorial ownership, and Russia won in 1813. Another important event was the battle against natives in 1804. Russian settlers began a battle with natives for land because the Russians won. They made natives leave and made the city of Novarkhangelsk. Then came the Battle of the Three Emperors in 1805. The Russian Empire and Holy Roman Empire participated in the Battle of Austerlitz, Russia, and Russia accepted a defeat in 1807. After this, another important event is that Russia made peace with Napoleon in 1807. After Russia was defeated in the Battle of the Three Emperors, they made peace with Napoleon. This happened because Alexander I met with Napoleon at Tilsit to make peace. After this, the war with the United Kingdom began in 1807. Because Russia made peace with Napoleon, they had hostility to opposing countries. They declared war on the United Kingdom. In 1808, Russia occupied Finland. After Sweden did not want to obey Napoleon, Russia occupied Finland. Russia's occupants of Finland broke out a war between them. In 1808 to 1809, the Finnish War began. Since Russia occupied Finland, a war was declared. Russia had much success, but peace was made with Finland in 1809. After this, Finland joined Russia in 1809. Because Russia and Finland made peace, Finland was incorporated into Russia. King Gustav IV Adolf was forced to become king of Sweden because of the loss. In 1812, France invaded Russia. Napoleon decided to invade Russia because they started to trade with the United Kingdom in 1810. Napoleon also wanted to re-establish a Polish state. In 1812, the Battle of Borodino started. The French and Russian armies met in Borodino and was known as the Inclusive Battle. The French were proclaimed the winners because Russia retreated. Another important event in 1812 was Russia's abandonment of Moscow. After the France won the war in Borodino, Napoleon was after Moscow. Russians cleared Moscow of supplies and resources so the French would not benefit. In 1813, Cousteau's death. Mikhail Cousteau was a very successful Russian military officer. He is known as Russia's hero and savior and was a great model for Russia. Another event that took place in 1813 was Russia's win over Persia. Russia won the war over Persia and made them give up land. Persia gave up Georgia, Dagestan, and most of Azerbaijan. Another important event happened in 1837, and this was the first railways in Russia. The first railway in Russia extended between St. Petersburg and the Imperial Palace in Tsarskoye Selo. This led to other railways, such as the railway connecting Moscow and St. Petersburg. There was also a great age in the 19th century, the golden age of Russian literature. Russia developed many great forces in the world of literature and art through artists. Alexander Pushkin was known as a prominent writer. He wrote about Russian themes and in Russian language. War against Persia broke out in 1826 and another war between the Ottoman Empire in 1828. Russia went to war with Persia but was victorious and gained land in parts of Azerbaijan and Armenia. After this war, they went to war with the Ottoman Empire and won territory of the Black Sea coast in form of a treaty. In 1817 to 1864, the Caucasian War began. The Caucasian War was between the Caucasus and Russian Empire. The war ended with Russia losing areas of the northern Caucasus. In 1839 to 1895, the Russian conquest of Central Asia began. Russians invaded parts of Asia and ended with them becoming Russian Turkestan. This also was the beginning of Soviet Central Asia. Other events that happened was the death of Emperor Alexander II in 1881. Alexander II had many attacks against him, including one in 1866, 1867, 1879, and 1880. These attempts happened because of his liberal views and was a great part of his history as he was the one who considered a constitution. Alexander the Second also was a Alexander the Second the Third's taking power was also a great event. Alexander the Third aspired to hold a conservative orthodox policy, autocracy, and nationality. His reign is well known to be peaceful because there weren't many major conflicts during his reign. Cordonca tragedy in 1896 was also a great event. Nicholas II had his coronation in the Dormition Cathedral in Moscow that led to many being killed. As many attendees were there as there were many attend Because there were many attendees, the food supply lessened and crowds of people rushed to get more, leading many to be trampled. Another important event was the developing parties in 1898. Russians began to establish a Russian Social Democratic Labor Party. This also helped to develop a Congress in Russia. Some other events that happened in 19th century Russia was the Crimean War, and this lasted from 1853 to 1856. Russia implemented pressure on Turkey because of religious tensions. The Ottoman Empire, British and French defeated Russia. Another event was the Caesar Alexander II Emancipation Reform in 1861. Alexander II abolished serfdom and let the poor buy land, and developed a universal military service. Because he did this, he strengthened Russian government and borders. And in 1867, the selling of Alaska and Aleutian Islands began. Alexander II sold Alaska and Aleutian Islands to the U.S. With that money he sold with the monies with the money that was gained from the sold islands, he built the St. Isaac Cathedral domes in St. Petersburg. And these were some of the most important events in 19th century Russia.